ladies and gentlemen. I'm Rob here once more before you for another episode of Cardboard. This time I'm very happy to bring before you something old and new at the same time. Way back in the time we call the 80s, there was a board game called Fireball Island. It was an exciting looking game with an idol on top of a mountain that would spew out marble fireballs to bedevil the heroes who would dare to go out after the treasure. A great ruby setting up near the huge stone idol. Unfortunately, I didn't get that game. I had a fair number of games as a younger boy, but that's one I didn't get. Well, a company called Restoration Games has been working on getting licenses to old games out of print and reproducing them, giving them a fresh coat of paint, reimagining the modeling, and reworking things with a new modern veneer to them so that we can enjoy these games once more in modern day. Now, I was happy to kickstart this and backed it and received my copy back in November of last year, 2018. But I haven't had really a good opportunity until now to break it out and have my family come and give it a try. And I think I may have even persuaded my lovely wife Melissa to come and join us for this one, so it'll be very exciting. Now, this is the board game. It's consistent of 3 plastic panels that stack together with cardboard sliders in the middle to kind of hide the gap underneath them. The reason why they have the 3 panels is, number 1, so it can fit in a box. Number 2, it preserves the element of verticality. At the top you see Volcar, the angry volcano god, who stands above. And carved into this island are a variety of paths, which are separated by painted lines, markers, and in some cases dips in 3D impressions and guides that separate out the different sections, paths for the players to travel along. It also allows marbles to travel along as a threat to those characters. The individual adventurers are tiny little plastic pieces, very small. I'd say 20mm pieces. There's a good reason for this, though. They're each iconically colored in a particular color, and relatively easy to track, but they're small enough that a single marble can easily knock them around, more often than not sending them flying. A piece that's knocked down pays a penalty. If an opposing player knocks that character down, they get to steal a treasure from the player who got knocked down. If a person knocks their own character down, well, one of their treasures goes away into the maw, which is kind of a bank that resides at the end as spoils for the victors. So there are a total of 4 heroes who take turns moving throughout. The heroes move by using these action cards. Each action card has a description on it, saying the name of the card, how many places that character gets to move, and all of them have a number between 4 and 12, and also additional abilities that movement allows you to do. In some cases, it may allow you to throw fireballs at your opponents, or if you draw and play a Cataclysm card, it enables you to take 1 or more marbles and run them through Volcar. Volcar has 3 different shoots coming out of his mouth, so there's a random element to it. It can be dangerous, but when you have a handful of marbles and you shoot them through the board, knocking everything out of the way, it can be pretty intense, especially if you're in the blast zone. Again, it's randomized. There's a lot of options for marbles to go astray. In addition, there's also defensive options. Some of these cards allow you to rotate. You can rotate Volcar himself, so you can make him face the different directions and away from you, hopefully. There are also these palm trees studded throughout. Those can be turned too. They have a root cluster that sticks out to one side. If you rotate it so that root cluster is sticking into a path, it can divert fireball marbles that are coming your direction. Or you can use them to guide fireballs at your opponents. Clever use of the roots can be handy. They don't block players, however. The players can jump right over them. So you use the action cards to move around. The marbles represent different things. The ones that come out of Volkar himself are fireballs. There are also 6 ember marbles that are placed in high points throughout the board. Each of these ember marbles can be knocked over by fireballs to go and attack other players, so you can have a cascade effect. But also some of the cards allow you to push one of these marbles, pushing them into a path so that you can directly attack your opponents. Clever use of this can be the ability to knock a leader back, or give yourself a comfortable cushion over your opponents. Studded throughout the island, as you will see as we start playing, there are plastic cardboard discs. Each of them contains a treasure. As you go through the paths, some of them have red triangles on them, and as you pass by, you are enabled to grab one of the treasures that is resting next to the pile. These treasures are often what determines the winner and loser of the game, because they can score and rapidly upgrade your chances of winning. Also periodically through the paths are a camera symbol. In order to end the game, you have 2 options. One person can go throughout all 3 sections of the island, capture a photograph from each of the 3 colors representing the 3 zones, and then return to the helipad where the game starts. If you do that, the helicopter comes and you're off the board and safe. Nobody can steal anything from you anymore, and you can't be targeted by Volkar or its effects. Also, everybody else on the map suddenly has 2 rounds. If they can't get back to the helicopter, any photographs that they've taken won't count for scoring, so that can give you a comfortable cushion. Quite honestly, those usually around 15 points you get for having 3 photographs, at least 3, is often going to be the difference between winning and losing if you've grabbed any amount of treasure along the way. The other way the game can end, though, and probably the more likely, is for a cataclysm. At one end of the map, there's something called a scar. It's a special trough that holds red fireballs. It starts with 1, and if somebody plays a cataclysm card, the person can take the fireball out and put it into the hole in the top of Volkar's head and send it flying at his opponents. Now, if you feed the cataclysm and continue to put down cataclysm cards, after 3, all of the action cards are shuffled along with those 3 cataclysm cards, and an additional fireball is added to the scar. If 4 fireballs are in the scar at one time, the game will end in 2 rounds, ending with the round of the person that caused the cataclysm, or caused the last marble to be added. Now those cataclysm cards there's quite a few of them in there, and at some point somebody's going to end up with a hand full of cataclysm cards. Your hand is 2 cards, so it doesn't take long before somebody has to start playing cataclysm cards. Cataclysm cards enable you to move 6 spaces, they allow you 1 rotation, and then you take the marbles and you send them through. So, ready or not, here they come. After you fill those 3, and add another one, and then another one, it's getting closer. Three marbles in there, and the game is going to end soon. So people start to get frenzied with trying to pick up to the end. Also, interestingly enough, at the top of the island, you may see, or you certainly will when we start playing, there's the Ruby Heart of Volkar. That is worth 7 points in scoring and can be decisive to determining who wins. If you can get up to the idol without getting hit by fireballs, it's a good trick, and you can get it and end the game with it, that's 7 points for you to get closer towards winning, which is substantial. Downside, you're a target for everybody else. When you've got that, anybody going by you steals that the Heart of Volkar. So it can change hands repeatedly. Also interesting to note that there are caves studded throughout. There are a little hard to see, unfortunately, in the printing. They could have made them a little darker, I suppose. But if you go into a cave, and you'll see them as we get closer and we start playing, You can come out. There's a random die roll, and that'll tell you which cave you can come out of. There are 2 caves for each number, 1 to 3, and we have a 3-sided die here, 1, 2, or 3, and you can pick between one of the 2 caves that has the number you rolled once you go into a cave. It's an interesting element that may allow you to warp past the difficult section or go from one side of the island to another in a hurry. Then sometimes it can be dangerous. It can put you squarely in the line of danger if one way is blocked or the other. But clever use of the caves, learning when to fly throughout the island and when to go slowly and gather as much treasure as possible, that's the difference between winning and losing in this game. In addition, we have a couple of expansions that were available with the Kickstarter, and you know me, I can't really stop myself sometimes. We have the special swirly shiny marbles, which is a nice touch. We have an injury deck. If a player gets knocked down by a fireball and will lose a treasure, rather than losing the treasure, they can sustain an injury. An injury has a variety of negative effects that'll be with you throughout the entirety of the game. So, choosing when to take it and sometimes getting lucky and taking an inconsequential injury may preserve your points to get you closer to winning. On the other hand, it may be the anchor around your neck that slows you down to the point where you can't finish with as high of a score as you would have otherwise. Also, there are souvenirs, one-shot boost items that help you out. We also have a few extra ones. The normal set of souvenirs are just quick boosts that help you to acquire points, move around the island faster, and preserve you in case of danger. With the ones we have an expansion called Hangry items, which are bad food which you can use to sabotage your enemies. Legendary items, which are very powerful game-changing effects. And maybe a few other surprises here and there. They've all been mixed together and shuffled into this deck, so whatever we get is what we end up with. If one of us gets knocked over by a fireball, we may lose a treasure, but you get a souvenir if you get knocked over, even if there is no other ill effect. So you can have as many as you want, and they can be timely and fairly useful. Last time I played with some of my friends, I ended up with a selfie stick that gave me a +2 points for every photograph that I took, which handily helped me to win that game. Will it help any of us to win? We'll find out together as we prepare to explore Fireball Island, the Curse of Volkar.